Have you fallen off lately, fallen off your routine? Because same. Listen, everyone has moments or seasons where they fall off their routine and fall off their goals, whether it's because, they're just being a little bit lazy or because life happens and you don't have much of a say in the matter. And so in this video, I'm going to share, first of all, why I've been a little MIA on YouTube and what happened to me to make me fall off my routine and my goals. But also, most importantly, let's talk about how to get back on track. And my method is very simple, but it works. So let's get into it. Hey friends, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Jillz and I help women step into their power, tap into their divine feminine, and become their best self, live their best life. So if that's something you want to do, you should subscribe and stick around. Okay, so first of all, let me just share what's been going on with me for a second and why I had to kind of take a break from everything. So basically, the short version of it is I had a spot on my nose, and I kind of shared the long version in my newsletter, but the short version is that I had a spot on my nose and it was skin cancer. It was an invasive squamous cell on my nose. And at first I thought it was just like, not a cancerous spot, just like a weird spot, and they froze it off and it didn't work. It made it look worse. Went back, got it biopsied. And what's funny is that when I went to get it biopsied, the dermatologist was like, I'm pretty sure this is basal cell carcinoma. And I was like, damn, that sucks. And I kept repeating in my head over and over again, it's gonna be negative for basal cell. It's gonna be negative for basal cell. And they called me a few days later and they said that it was positive for squamous cell, which is funny because it was in fact negative for basal cell, but I just had something else. Here's the thing is I am on camera all the time, and obviously with that treatment, I had to take some time off. So it took a little bit of time to figure out my treatment plan and everything, but once I did, I got it treated. The first week, I was very swollen on the left side of my face. I'll insert a picture here. And then after that, it basically turned into like this big, ugly wound, scabby sort of thing. It was very ugly and very big, and it just took a while to heal. It took like probably 4.5 weeks to heal. So I obviously had to take some time off for that. But that whole process kind of just threw me off my routine, obviously, because I had to take some rest. The first week or two, I was especially just like feeling very blah, and I was swollen and it was ugly. After that, I started feeling a little bit better and I started, doing a few things here and there. But it was really just like a time where I felt like I needed to just fully take off. And then once I started really healing, looking better and feeling better, and I was just about to get back into it again, then I got hit with the flu. And so I felt like it was kind of the universe just telling me like, yo girl, this is your season to just like lie horizontal on the couch, And so I just surrendered and leaned into it. And so I basically took off around like 5 weeks or so. Obviously didn't film anything, just a little bit of work here and there, but really I was focusing on just resting. So the spot, in case any of you guys were curious, it was right here on my nose. And if you look back on old videos for the past 2 months or so, you can see that I have a dent in my nose. And the dent wasn't why I went to the dermatologist. The dent was because I got it frozen off and then it didn't work and it made my nose all worse. So that's actually why I got that. Now I think it's pretty much gone, so that's good. I didn't have anything crazy here. I just had a small spot, like a small perfect circle that looked like dry skin. That's basically it. And I've always had dry skin on my nose, like it's kind of just what I've always had. So when I first noticed it, like fall of last year, I just didn't think much of it because I always have dry skin. And then I kind of picked it off, and then I realized it came back again with like a perfect circle and a little bit bigger. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll book an appointment. And truthfully, like the non-melanoma type skin cancers, which is what I had, is really not that big of a deal. It's kind of just like you get your skin treated and it's usually fine after that. Melanoma is like the scary skin cancer. So that's not what I had. But I am better now. I look pretty good. It's not fully healed. I don't think you can really tell on camera. It's probably about 90% healed. It's just a little bit discolored and a little bit textured right now, but I have a tiny bit of makeup on, so I have like a little bit of this like new tinted SPF face stuff that I've that I found that is incredible, by the way. Let me actually show you because it is this good. It's not sponsored. Okay. This stuff, it's called Avocado Zinc. It's basically the only thing that I have on my face right now. I mean, I have like blush and a little bit of contour on, but for my actual face, it's mostly just this. This is so good. And I've always had trouble with like finding good face sunscreens because they either like make my eyes hurt or they're weird and I don't know, but this stuff is good. And this is like more natural, non-toxic, you know, like zinc based, and they have a non-tinted sunscreen for like your body and stuff too. It's really good. So yeah, sometimes the universe just wants you to rest. I have noticed sometimes there are seasons in life where the universe or God or whoever is kind of like, this is just your season to lean back and take care of yourself. And something that I've always said when I ever get like really sick or knocked down or something, I always reframe it and I say, I'm upgrading, I'm recalibrating to that next level. And this is something that I told my team about. You know, like our small little Jillz Guerin team here. And so whenever any of us get sick, we say we're upgrading. And I don't know what was going on with April. I think the astrology was insane, but every single person that I talked to had a very difficult past month or two. And every single person on my team got sick. I had my stuff. Every single friend of mine had a really hard past month. It just felt like we were all on the struggle bus. And you know what? Sometimes there are seasons of life where it's just all aboard the struggle bus and it is what it is and you just get through it. So that's the first thing here. If you fell off, maybe you really needed the rest. Maybe you really needed to reprioritize and focus on a personal matter or something. And if you look at that time and you just think, oh my God, I failed. Oh my God, I fell off my routine. Oh my God, I'm so inconsistent. When you fall off your goals or your routine and you spend the entire time feeling bad about it and hating yourself for it, you're just adding friction to the comeback. So now you're not just trying to get back on track, you're also trying to get back on track while dragging the weight of all of the shame and discomfort that you feel around that. And that makes it 10 times harder. And that's often why restarting and getting back into it can feel so tough because yes, you've lost momentum. So there's already a little bit of friction there, but now there's that shame piled onto it. So when I say like, don't shame yourself for falling off, I don't mean it in this like woo-woo love and light kind of way. I mean, actually, practically, don't let those negative emotions weigh you down and keep you stuck. The shame is what's making that comeback hard, not the falling off itself. And it's not even just shame. It can also be just like extreme irritation around falling off your routine. And that anger and that energy, it's gonna hold you back. It's not gonna propel you forward. All that's doing is just adding more heaviness that you need to work through to feel normal and back at it again. So the second thing is take care of yourself first and focus on productivity second. So something that I always do whenever I kind of like fall off my routine a little bit or, I get sick or whatever, is I spend usually like a day or a half day, but usually a day where I am just kind of focusing on myself and making myself feel good and back to normal. I go for a walk. I take a good shower where I shave my legs and I wash my hair. I give my hair a nice blowout. I put on a nice outfit. I clean up my space a little bit. I clean up my desk. None of those things are going to magically fix my life, but to me, those things send the message to me, I'm back. We're safe. We're taking care of ourselves again. We've got momentum again. And here's the honest truth. When I feel pretty again and clean again, I already feel back in momentum. Like I already feel a lot like my best self. When I feel good, I do good. And when I do all of those things first, it's so much easier for me to then take action and get going on everything that I need to be doing and start getting back into my goals. It just is. It's just the way that it is. Something that I always say and something that I always think about is that we should all be enjoying the journey towards achieving our goals. And there's no point in life if the only sort of satisfaction we get is the outcome of those goals. We should enjoy the process towards getting there because the process of getting towards our goal is most of our life. And so for me, when I take care of myself first and I regulate first and I feel pretty first and I get organized first, that then makes it feel good to start taking action on my goals. And I start enjoying the process more versus me just forcing myself, pushing myself to get things done and immediately just tackle the to-do list. And if you've already like completely fallen off your routine and everything, another day is not really going to do anything. So if you just take a day and you focus on yourself, you get yourself organized, you get yourself pretty, you get back into the swing of things, you regulate yourself, you do whatever it is that you need to do to make yourself feel good. Maybe you book a nail appointment and a blowout. For me, I did get my nails done, but actually I've been loving just not doing polish lately, but I'll still get a manicure just so I feel clean. I know some girls feel amazing when they get a spray tan, like everything's just coming together again, or have a little self-care day at home, but one more day of not being productive so you can mentally feel good and get excited to get back into it, it's so worth it. And to me, it is productive. Number 3, make the next 24 hours stupidly obvious. There's that law of physics that says something like an object in motion stays in motion and an object at rest stays at rest. So the most important thing here is achieving momentum and getting back into that momentum. Okay, so when you feel behind and you need to get back into it, you don't need to sit down and make like a 5-year plan and reevaluate your whole life. You need to sit down and decide, what am I eating for breakfast tomorrow? What time am I going for a walk? What is my first work task gonna be? What am I gonna do to wind down tomorrow night? And when am I gonna put my phone away? I'm not saying that you need to make this, like intense schedule, but you do need to make your next 24 hours stupidly obvious so that it's clear and that it's easy to take action. And the more overwhelmed you are, the more clear and obvious your plan needs to be. When I was getting back into it, this is exactly what I did. My first work task was not like writing and filming a whole video. It was just writing a newsletter. That's it. Newsletters are pretty easy for me and they're fun for me. I also love filming, but it's much more complex. There's more friction involved. It takes longer for me to prepare a video, have to set up the camera and manage the editing process and all that, which if you're not on the list for my newsletter, the link for that is down below. I put my clothes out the night before. I knew exactly what I was wearing. I knew exactly what time I was gonna take my dog for a walk. You don't want to wake up and think, okay, I need to get back into it today. What should I do? When you don't really have any momentum yet, that decision fatigue is going to keep you stuck. It's going to keep you at rest instead of in action mode. You want to wake up and say, yes, I'm getting back into it. I know exactly what I'm doing today. Number 4, don't restart with your hardest habit. Like I said, I got back into my work by writing a newsletter, and those are fun and easy for me and they feel light to me, whereas a video, again, is more complex and there's more friction involved. I also had to take off like 2.5 weeks or so from exercise, and I got back into it by walking a lot. And I actually bought a walking pad, and it's been probably the best purchase I've made in the past year. When you're getting back on track, don't start with your hardest habit. Start with something that feels achievable and accessible. If you've fallen off your gym routine, your first day back does not need to be this 2-hour butt kicking, sweat dripping on the floor type of workout. It can be a 30-minute incline walk on the treadmill. And that's great. Again, momentum is everything. An object in motion stays in motion. An object at rest stays in rest. All we're doing is just getting back into motion. Everything else will take care of itself. Once you get back into motion, everything else will take care of itself. And I know there's this saying, like, eat the frog. And it basically means to do your hardest task first. But I don't know, I disagree. Not for me, because once you're in motion, everything follows. It's really hard to go from 0 to 100. But it's really easy to go from 0 to 30 and then 30 to 100. You're still getting back to 100 at the end of the day. But with all that said, something that I want you to realize is that most of us understand consistency wrong. We look at it wrong. We're looking at it the wrong way. We think of it as streaks, days in a row, weeks in a row, perfect adherence. And the second something interrupts that streak, whether you just get sick, or you have a health thing that comes up that you need to deal with, or a personal matter that comes up that you need to reprioritize and focus on that, or you just have a hard season, whatever, then all of a sudden it's, I'm not consistent. I failed. My routine is ruined. My progress is ruined. But real consistency, like actual real consistency, is something that you can only see once you stand up and zoom out. Consistency is the patterns that show up, not after days, not after weeks, but after months, after years, after decades. Think about someone you know who is like genuinely just like very fit and healthy, and they take care of themselves, and they've been doing it for a really long time. Not the person who had like a perfect month in January, but the person who has just consistently shown up and taken care of themselves, okay? They get sick sometimes. They have hard seasons too. They've probably taken some breaks. Maybe they even got injured at some point, but they kept coming back. And when you zoom out on a decade of their life, all those interruptions are barely visible and all you see is consistency and someone who keeps showing up. So that is what consistency is. Not a perfect streak, but a long-term pattern. There are always going to be interruptions that come up sometimes in your life. And if you can ride the waves of those interruptions, and if you just get completely thrown off where every single time something interrupts your life, your routine is gone and you can't get it back, you're going to have a very hard time in your life and you're going to have a very hard time achieving your goals. I had to take a month or so off from filming and making YouTube videos. And if you just stay zoomed in on that, you would think, oh, she's not very consistent. But if you actually zoomed out, you would see that I've been making videos for almost 6 years now on YouTube. And yeah, I've had to take breaks here and there, but I keep showing up. And I think that is consistency. And so if your view of consistency is perfection, it's making you inconsistent. It's okay to fall off track sometimes. It happens to everyone. I think there's usually like once or twice a year where I kind of fall off my routines, my goals, all of that. And sometimes it's because things happen. Sometimes it's because I'm feeling a little lazy or I just need a little rest. And it is what it is. So if you've fallen off track and you're getting back into it like me, number 1, drop the shame, the anger, the irritation around falling off. It's not helping you. Number 2, take care of yourself. Focus on yourself first. Number 3, make the next 24 hours stupidly obvious. And number 4, start with the easiest habit. That's it. Just get back into the rhythm and everything else will follow. And if you do want to get more organized and get back into it, you should check out this video right here. This is where I walk through basically my system for how I organize my life. And I've been using this system for years and it's truly been so powerful and such a game changer for managing my life and also achieving my goals. So I'll see you over there, or I'll just see you next time in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for sticking around even when I'm not so consistent and when life happens. So I'll see you next time. Bye.